All right, we're live. And I'll do the
It's not
clap.
so much a theme as it's a bridesmaid's dress I wore like 6 years ago.
Hey, at least you got to wear it more than once.
That's interesting. I have never heard of someone doing that.
My sister was very much just she picked out pretty dresses that weren't bridesmaids dresses, so that was the idea.
Okay.
But whenever you're ready to clap us in for it.
Yep. All right, so we'll do the countdown. 3, 2, 1. Welcome to the Hunters Hub. This is your host Fortuan, joined by co-host Pan. How you doing tonight?
I'm good, and I'm still not used to being the second person you introduce.
Oh, you're used to more. Yeah, I do it by order of people who came on the show. Usually, I used to at least.
I've noticed that, and I'm used to having a full, like, you introduce Morg, and then I've got a solid 5 minutes to think of how I'm doing because he's just gonna take off.
Yeah, he was a spitfire, that's for sure.
Yeah. So I'm not used to describing how I feel 33 seconds in, but I feel all right. Thank you.
And Sasha Kyo, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing pretty great. How are you guys? Well, I hear Pan's doing pretty great. How are you?
I'm good. I have no kids this weekend. They're with their mom on a vacation. So I played Skyward Sword pretty much all day. That's what I did. I almost finished the game.
Nice.
I think I am go to final boss, beat final boss. I think that's where I'm at. Nope, I gotta. Oh, nope. Full screen again. There we go. Things got messed up. All right, cool. Got messed up. All right, cool. So what we're going to be doing today is talking about the Activision Blizzard controversy. Moral of the story: treat people equally, right? Or,
Or
a lot better.
Don't sexually harass your coworkers.
Yes. Yeah, that too. Yeah. Or anybody, but especially your coworkers. Oh man. So a lot happened, and I think as a quick recap, basically there was a 2-year investigation done by the state of California against Activision Blizzard that was incited by an employee committing suicide on a business trip, female employee, because she was pressured to do things she was not comfortable with on a business trip, as well as other reports, numerous reports on both Activision and Blizzard's side of sexual harassment and inequality in the workplace as far as like promotions and pay. And so the state of California is suing them based on their findings, and they're pretty damning. And there's a lot of crazy stuff that was found. For instance, the inciting stuff like the suicide, but also like frat boy kind of stuff from Treyarch, just institutionalized and old sexism rampant within Blizzard. People were specifically named. Apparently, there were a couple teams that were especially problematic, including the World of Warcraft team and the Battle.net team, were extremely known for being boys' clubs, as they were called. There was the Cosby Room, which I didn't do as much research into that, but that was bad. You look like you want to chime in there, Sasha.
I did read quite a bit about Alex of the Cosby Suite. So when we get to that, all I can say is that they issued a memo to their staff at one of the BlizzCons. Don't wrangle the fans into the executive suite is an exact quote.
Oh, jeez. Yikes. So yeah, and you said something. There was about a 2-drink limit at company events.
Yeah, I saw. So I read the Bloomberg report that came out earlier this week, and they were talking about heavy drinking as a regular part of the office culture. There was frequent sexual advances after that, and a lot of hazing that involved taking shots every half hour for new employees. And they instituted a two-drink maximum at company functions.
Wow.
Yeah.
As someone who doesn't drink, I would not fit in there.
I'll be. So my husband is in a fraternity, and many of our close friends are in that same fraternity. This is shit that they would be like, "What the fuck at?"
Yeah.
Like, this is shit. Like, oh no, we're not that. Like, they're like, oh no. Fraternities like that give fraternities a bad name.
They're the ones that hit the movies because they're so bad. Right.
Yeah. So when you're doing stuff that a fraternity would go, yikes at.
Yeah. I have some other notes here too. A lot of really weird stuff. Because this is getting everywhere, right? So after all this lawsuit stuff, of course, Blizzard has a measured response. A lot of people trying to say things like, "Hey, look, it's not as bad as it looks," right? Right. One of those people is Fran Townsend. And for those of you who are unaware, Fran Townsend is known for being the torture apologist in the Bush administration of 2004. Um,
Oh, okay. Yes. All right.
so there was a little bit of digging, not by me. Stuff I looked at, various YouTube channels and some articles around the whole Fran Townsend thing. She was basically downplaying issues and that kind of stuff. And then she shared an article titled "The Problem with Whistleblowing." Did you guys see this?
I haven't seen the details about what she was doing, but I have heard about her damage control with her Twitter account.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
please share more. Give us the tea.
So just before she closed her Twitter account and deleted it and blocked people that worked for her, that was another thing. She ended up blocking people underneath her on Twitter. This article is legit insane. I actually read a good portion of it and then skimmed the rest because I was like, what are they talking about? It is an article that's basically saying if you don't know how to get along with your superiors, you're not doing it right, is essentially the gist of it. Now, here's also the problem. This is the most we don't like to get into politics here, but it's unavoidable in this particular article because it is the most 1%y article I have ever read in my life.
I've read the avocado toast article.
Sounds like capitalist propaganda.
Oh my gosh, it was.
I've read the original avocado toast article, so I don't know about that.
I don't know what I said that I've read. I don't know what the avocado toast article is, but basically it was saying that you have to understand your place in society of superiors and inferiors, and that's the way they referred to people, as superiors and inferiors. And I was like, holy cow. And I can't like.
We got plebs and we got senators here, guys.
The haves and the have-nots.
Basically, and she got raked over the coals for this article that she put out, and then blocked people, and then deleted her Twitter. So this is so Fran Townsend was an interesting rabbit hole to go down because she is not the only person from the government that was hired. There are as many as I think they said 4 ex-CIA members part of Activision Blizzard right now. There's a lot of ties about what was hired in Activision specifically because Fran is on the Activision side of government people who were good at spinning things. including their lead lawyer, like on thing, like hired lawyer, I think. So leading to all that, of course, this is big, a big to do. They had a lot of, hey, we'll fix this. So they hired a law firm to investigate what's going on, and so they hired Wilmer Hale, which Wilmer Hale is a law company that is known for union busting, is what the
Yes,
word
yes, I
was.
heard about them. I heard about them recently. Yes.
Uh, the so this union busting thing, and then also most of the responses from executives were not liked by the employees so much that they staged a walkout. And they had apparently it went really well, and the employees actually formed a coalition within themselves. They have their own Twitter account and stuff to basically say, no, we don't agree with our business. We're the employees, but we're not the executives, basically, giving themselves their own voice, which is actually kind of cool. Um, they have been leveled. Now, this isn't as serious, but it is sort of like part of the story. A second lawsuit was levied against them called a class action lawsuit by their shareholders, because their shareholders were uninformed of the investigation for 2 years and were and so they're filing a lawsuit basically saying, hey, you didn't inform us well enough as your shareholders of what's going on. Um, so that happened, and then I think some of the more recent stuff is that we had the president of Blizzard step down, and J. Allen Brack is his name, and he was basically the last full Blizzard employee. Now they're bringing on, and this is an interesting point too. They're not president and CEO because I don't remember his name, but the guy before J. Allen Brack was CEO slash president of Blizzard. J. Allen Brack is just president, so they took away the CEO title when he stepped down. And now these people are not even president; they are co-leaders of Blizzard, which is Jen O'Neill and Mike Ybarra, which both are actually a lot of people are happy about these two, not just because they look, it looks better to have a president that's female based on everything that's going on, but also they seem to be legitimate, awesome people within the Blizzard company who have come on in the past couple years. One of them, Jen O'Neill, actually being. I guess I'll talk a little bit about the history of them. Did you guys look into these two at all?
Doing so right now.
Okay. So Jen O'Neill was the leader of Vicarious Visions for a long time, and if you guys aren't aware, Vicarious Visions are the people doing the Diablo 2 remake. They also did the Tony Hawk remake that was super well received last year. I didn't know this, but Vicarious Visions was merged into Blizzard during COVID, or recently or something like that. I did not know this. I did not know that Blizzard acquired Vicarious Visions. I thought they were a separate company. But that might have been true before all this. So she steps up as co-leader with Mike Ybarra, and Mike Ybarra is known for being at Xbox for about 20 years as sort of like an Xbox Live leader and that kind of stuff. And he's a big gamer. Apparently, he played WoW enough that he almost got divorced and lost his job over it. When he was leading the charge, he was what they called general manager of Windows 7 at the time at Microsoft. So, hey, Windows 7 was good, right? It was one of the good ones. Yeah, it was one of the good ones. It was not Vista. It was not Vista.
And that's what it had going for it.
I don't think 8 was bad. 8 was weird, but anyway, so yeah, like that's the overall kind of what happened. And I don't think our discussion. Is there anything I missed that you guys wanted to mention? That was my notes.
So Francis Townsend
Mm-hmm.
was the company's leader of the company's women's network. So that's pretty interesting
Oh
that
no.
she essentially was hired on as a way to spin things, I guess, a PR face.
Yep.
She initially, when the lawsuit came to the public eye, her first response was that it was distorted and untrue. And then they've responded, the company officially has responded saying that was tone deaf. And then she stepped down, I think, either yesterday or today from that
Oh.
position with the Women's Network, but she still maintains her other position.
Yeah. Oh, I did miss this. The head of HR at Blizzard also no longer works at Blizzard. For obvious reasons.
I think he's the one that he's in a picture. He's in the picture at the Cosby Suite.
Yes. I think so. I think.
Oh no.
Yeah. So, obviously, a big deal. We talked about this with the best game of the year discussion, World of Warcraft being a huge thing in the gaming industry. Myself being a gigantic Diablo fan, this is why this struck home with me. We've all three of us have played WoW to some degree. I think you two played more than me, honestly.
I was really, really deep in it, but now I have a good reason to stay clean forever.
Aside from the game itself, yes. I went back and played in the latest expansion when it came out, Shadowlands, and it was fine, but like it has the same problems. You need a crew. You need a crew of like 40 people all the time. Like, I don't have that.
Yeah, for us, like, it was the height of us playing WoW was when like we all had like roommates to play with.
You could do all the dungeons, yeah.
Yeah, and like it was fun like exploring and discovering things about the world like with our roommates. Oh, did you go here and do this? And like, no, I hadn't, things like that. And so, the magic is gone because like our room like nobody has, similar schedules, and the very best we can do at all is to just get together sometimes roughly once a week for D&D.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Nobody's got time for World of Warcraft anymore, at least in my social circle.
And D&D only takes an additional cost of a book. It doesn't take a monthly subscription. Or 2 monthly now. You can no longer buy 1 month at a time.
I was going to say no comment on the cost of a D&D book.
Hey, that's all it requires. Whatever you buy after that is up to you. Yes.
I own every 5th edition book.
I own every Pathfinder 2e book right now, and I own a lot of 5th edition books. Not all of them, but a lot. Yeah. So, okay. So the crackback, obviously stocks are going to go down for this. Obviously they're going to lose some customers. So a lot of talk about boycotting, as we got on here. So what do you guys feel about boycotting? Are you not going to play like things are you not going to play anything that comes out of them right now, or what?
I already wasn't.
Fair.
I was super excited about the Diablo 2 release because I was late to the Diablo game. My first adventure was Diablo 3, and I played a ton of it.
Mm-hmm.
So I was really excited for this renewed chance to play the second game, and now I probably won't. I probably won't play it.
Okay.
I'm one small voice, but anybody's seen like, I don't know, the Ants movie. If all of us rise up, they can't be that powerful.
Yeah, the Woody Allen one. I like that one.
I was gonna say, I'm pretty sure that was the moral of both Ant movies.
It was, yes. I think I like A Bug's Life, but Ants was a little bit more on the nose in social commentary because it was.
Well, that's because A Bug's Life is a ripoff of The Seven Samurai. Are you just now learning that?
Yes. I mean, I didn't think about that. I watched A Bug's Life when I was like a kid. I didn't know about the Seven Samurai.
Well, yeah, A Bug's Life is the Seven Samurai.
Okay.
Every day is a school day.
We learn something new every day. Personally, I'm not much for boycotting regardless. But I was considering with this one. Because I am an active Diablo fan, and I was like, I already have Diablo 2. I don't need it. If it's coming out. But there is an interesting point made by a YouTuber that I watch that is directly involved in Blizzard stuff. He does a lot of Diablo content by the name of Riker, and he had an interesting take, and I was like, okay, I'm listening because, again, it's just his opinion, but he's saying that sometimes boycotts don't hurt the right people. Because what ends up happening with a big corporation like this, the losses funnel down to the employees and the customers rather than the CEOs, which is part of the problem here, is the CEOs. And
Well, I would like to touch on that specifically as it relates to Blizzard.
okay,
So what I was reading in the Bloomberg report was that originally this whole like rock star culture started because when the company was smaller, they had very generous sharing. And so
Very generous. What? You cut out, sorry.
profit sharing.
mm-hmm.
So they all started living very lavish lifestyles very quickly and felt like they were untouchable. As the company grew, profit sharing decreased, and there's this like inside joke. I'm not really a joke, but they call it the Blizzard tax, and a lot of the employees stay on for the prestige of being Blizzard employees, not for the pay.
Mm-hmm.
So they're already not getting this trickle down profit sharing that they would have gotten had this company been selling these games and not affected by a boycott.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's not beyond me to say that a boycott wouldn't work. But I'm not sure. For me it's a gray area. I'm like I'm not, because like that is, when companies have losses, they always shove the loss onto something else. That, I mean, we see that in multiple companies. And is that a reason to not buy it or to buy it still? I don't, maybe not, but we'll see. We'll see, because they are trying to make changes to fix these things as well, which might alleviate some things of boycotting. But we'll see. We're not there yet, right? Things have just come out. We've had 3 people leave the company or step down in some way since this news has came out. There have been firings behind the scenes. The head World of Warcraft guy that we don't want to say his last name because it'd be terrible to pronounce, but first name Alex. It was Alex, right? Maybe I'm remembering that wrong.
Alex of the Cosby Suite, yes.
Yes. He was quietly fired a year ago. He was also, I think he was also the one, there was a lot of talk about, you guys see this clip during a BlizzCon one year where they talked about Sylvanas stepping out of a Victoria's Secret catalog? And he asked the woman, well, what catalog do you want her to step out of? On the panel.
I did see that, and
Yeah.
I actually was right around the same time that I had written a paper undergrad about I had done like a Metacritic analysis on games that scored over 90 in a Metacritic rating, the less clothes that the characters had. So like basically the only things that were scoring higher than that were Tomb Raider and Bayonetta, and things like Metroid, which are also like well-received games, technically sound games, were scored lower.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh boy.
I don't even want to start the rabbit hole dive of the fantasy genre and women.
Yeah, no, that's been a running joke
Oh, I
on
know.
everywhere. Hey, this bikini armor gives me more protection than whatever.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah. And I was so glad when Monster Hunter let us start transmogging things so that I could wear the Nargacuga armor without feeling slimy.
yeah, without the fishnet armor,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, Sasha, you don't know what the Nargacuga armor looks like. If you care to Google it, just imagine monster killing armor made out of fishnets.
Yep.
For the men and the women. To be fair, for the
Yeah,
men and the women.
The men have fishnets across their abs. That is true. Yes. They are equal opportunity sexualizers.
That's true. But at the same, like, I don't even want to start the rabbit hole dive of like women in fantasy and all the problematic things with it.
No, I'm a big fan of the full armored look, male or female. Actually, I saw a really interesting thing a couple of years ago about how breastplates that actually have like a breast actually don't hurt the armor in any integrity. So you
So one of the things that I super hate about the Rathian armor is that it's a goddamn ball gown.
Oh yeah, with the big skirt. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a goddamn plate mail ball gown. But the thing is that's actually what plate mail armor looks like. Like that's what Henry VIII's plate mail armor looks like. It looks like a ball gown.
Yeah. I mean, there's some crazy armors in the days of old. And
so I can't be too pissed. But yeah, he had this one armor set that was a skirt because that's how you like put plate mail that you can still move in.
Mm-hmm.
Is that it's a skirt.
You can still run. You can still move your legs.
But we're getting aside the point is that like I'm kind of just no wonder there's like so many problematic like female characters in World of Warcraft.
Yeah, because that's what sells. I want to see a Tauren woman on the front. That's what I want to see. Don't you make fun of me, Pan.
No, I can't judge. No, that's not at all why I laughed.
Okay.
Don't worry.
They're less appealed. They are still appealed, but they are less appealed, I would say.
You just don't know. You don't run in the same internet circles I do.
I am totally lost now, but okay.
Furries, Fortuan, furries.
Ah, damn it! No, I don't like that. No, they haunt me. So, for Sasha's knowledge, one of my D&D articles, everyone legit thought I wrote something about furries because I called it kin, wolf kin. And I didn't know that was a furry thing because I am not in that community. Because I wrote the article about wolves, dire wolves, and winter wolves, and wargs, which are all wolves.
Wolfkin.
Yeah.
Wolfkin.
Yeah. So I wrote that article and people were like, oh, I legit thought this was about furries. And I'm like, why would you think that? That's so weird. I had to have multiple people explain that to me. That was the only thing about it that was like that, though. It was just the title of the article. So. Oh, well. Yeah. And
So back at the plot.
Yeah. Yeah, huh? So the thing is, I think with the people that are stepping down and that kind of stuff, I think it's an interesting, like, I think that they are trying. I don't think they're going to be better. Like, it's not all better, obviously. I could see some games getting delayed. They've already talked about delaying Diablo Immortal, the phone game. Um,
I wonder how much they're delaying it due to whatever staff reasons, like they want to deal with their their internal stuff before they start cranking out the product. I wonder how much of it is that, or they want to delay it so that until people are no longer associating Blizzard with a controversy.
I don't know.
Because they don't want to release something in the middle of a controversy while people are all fired up about it.
It's true. I don't think anything was. Well, actually, no. Diablo Immortal would have been very soon. No, so that could be it too. I don't know when, but it would have been soon. They're also apparently they had an excuse though. They said like, "Hey, we want to add controller support, so we're gonna wait till next year so we can get controller support in." Like, all right.
I would imagine it's just going to be a mix of both. They are going to have to handle their internal problems. Those are the people who are going to keep their servers running, providing customer support, providing technical support. So if they want to have their games go live, they've got to have people to make it go smoothly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's that was the only thing I knew that was coming out very soon. They've recently had a talk with investors. Something else I saw recently, and with Immortal sort of being pushed back in the investor meeting, and they didn't really say, "Hey, we're delaying it." They just said, "Hey, it's coming out at this time," when they had already said, I think it was supposed to be end of August. Actually, I think it was really close. Now that I'm thinking about it, so yeah, that might have been a big reason why they did that. I don't. The other thing is like that investor meeting talked a lot about having stuff come out next year. Like there's a lot. We've got like Overwatch 2. We've got more WoW as always. We've got Diablo Immortal now, and it was hinting. It didn't say specifically, but it was hinting at Diablo 4 dropping next year, or beginning of next year within the fiscal quarter, which would end, whatever for whatever reason it's ends in March of next year or the year after. I mean, so we're in the first fiscal quarter still, or the second.
It varies from company to company when they decide to count their fiscal whatevers.
Yeah, but Blizzard specifically is on that Japanese one where it is the end of March, which Capcom has the same one. Know that from Monster Hunter because you'll see some games release at the either end or, usually the end of the cycle when that becomes relevant. So I don't know. This has been like a big thing, but like I kind of see them not really doing much. Sure, they're doing a lot. They like as far as like staffing changes, which I think is what needed to happen. But as far as like games releasing, there already kind of wasn't a lot coming out like immediately. So I don't know how much that's going to be affected. I'd be like the one I would super care about is Diablo 4, but that was a long ways off anyways. So, did you guys play anything other than WoW in the Blizzard catalog? A lot. Well, actually, Sasha, you talked a lot about Diablo 3 specifically. Pan, what were you going to say?
Hearthstone.
Oh, I forgot about Hearthstone.
Hearthstone helped wean me off of Magic. Actually, the beta for it got widespread release right around when my husband and I were quitting Magic the Gathering, so it kind of filled that hole, and it was a lot cheaper than Magic in the beginning. I mean, it still would be. And my husband honestly, like, pretty consistently played it pretty hardcore for about the first 4 or 5 years it was out.
Yeah.
But he honestly, it was so Ben Brode was like one of the big like creative guys behind Hearthstone, and he left. Hang on, I gotta find out when he left. Okay, so anyways, roughly when all the ideas that came out before Ben Brode left, basically, they had all the ideas that he had left behind. When they ran out of those, Hearthstone started to suck, and a lot of people started leaving, including my husband. So that was about 2 years ago, I think. So, and personally, I played a lot of Hearthstone during the COVID times.
It's fair.
I had a lot of time, not a lot of money, and there were a couple of free-to-play modes that I played, and it was a good time waster, especially the sort of auto chess game mode they had. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I've got money and less time, so I don't play Hearthstone.
Yeah. Fair.
I don't have tons of money, but I have the ratio has certainly changed from this time last year.
So, does it matter to you guys about the different teams that had the problems or not? Like, would it matter to you that let's say like the Diablo team didn't have a lot of problems supposedly? I'm sure they did, but they're probably less public about it.
It does kind of matter. And I had read too that the guy who had been leading the Diablo team until 2017, I guess, was supposed to be like a really excellent, down to earth, supportive guy, and is like very embarrassed to find that he was blindly contributing to this culture. So it does give me some hope that maybe there will be some internal changes that will motivate me to buy Diablo 2 remake when it comes out. From what I read, it seems to be that it was the technical support team and the BattleNet team, Real Heavy and Blizzard, that seemed to be the problem, which sounds like World of Warcraft to me. So I think I can commit to the not playing World of Warcraft, but I know Diablo 2 is going to be full price for the next 4 or 5 years, just like Diablo 3 has been full price this entire time.
Yep.
So they're not going to feel the hurt if I decide 2 years from now to pick up Diablo 2.
It's true. They're not. My plan was to buy 2 copies though on launch. One for Switch and one for PC, and I think my brother was doing the same. Because we like that cross save. We like that idea of porting a character over. Although crossplay is a little weird that they didn't do, but whatever. I get it. It's a little harder to talk to a different system than it is to just say, hey, here's a file, read it. So, go ahead, Pam.
Oh, I was just going to say, in answer to your question, to me, I think it makes a pretty big difference if it's like wholly different sort of divisions of the company that didn't have this culture and problem. Because it's almost like, they're almost like different companies entirely, to be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, I know they're all under Activision Blizzard, but if the different divisions have enough autonomy from each other, then whatever the hell was going down in the World of Warcraft division could be just completely isolated from the Diablo division, and they'd just be like, oh, did you hear about that crazy party the WoW guys threw last week? Oh, man, that sounds like crazy stuff. Let's get back to work now.
Mm-hmm.
And that could be the extent that the Diablo people knew about it.
Yeah, and Overwatch 2 didn't have a lot of stuff coming out of it as well.
Yeah, so it does certainly make a difference to me that different divisions may or may not have had these problems. And honestly, like your earlier question about would I be boycotting it or not? Regardless, I'm not a current subscriber of Blizzard Activision things, but I think that this is going to give me pretty severe pause about buying future Blizzard Activision products.
Mm-hmm.
And without seeing like significant change in the company in the days to come, I'm not sure that I would want to, because I just wouldn't want to have funded that company that caused this.
Sure.
Regardless of whether or not in the reverse bizarro world where I'm buying Diablo products.
Hey.
In the case in the case of the Diablo division was not the people with the problem, I don't know that I would still want to buy Diablo and thus throw my pennies to, whatever pennies of my $60 purchase go to the rest of Blizzard.
Right.
I'm just not sure that I would want them to have that.
Right, because even though the different teams that we care, so we buy, let's say, a Diablo game instead of WoW, right? Instead of subscribing to WoW, the money still goes to the overall company. That doesn't go to specifically to the Diablo team. Um, it does affect the Diablo team more to buy Diablo games because they get more attention, focus, and funding, and that kind of stuff. But the money still does get distributed to the other teams as well. There's not a separation of that. So I can see how even buying for, me buying Diablo games still funding the bad guys per se. But it sounds like also that upper management was a lot of the problem too. Um, Not all of upper management, but a lot.
Yeah, I read that it was pretty, there was essentially a precedent set that executives would be dating or looking to date lower level staff members, and female
Yeah.
staff members kind of had like internal competition with each other to try to stand out amongst their employees. And I had also read it was like a 4-to-1 ratio. Yeah, 4-to-1 ratio of male to female staff members throughout the company.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a lot. But that, not that that's good, but that also seems to be the case in a lot of video game companies. A lot of tech too. As a programmer, it was very rare to find females that were in my field. Um, like I think I was with someone. I wasn't trying to date someone in my field. All right, but like there was like in my programming classes, we had one girl, and she graduated, like one girl in my whole college graduating class. I'm just saying it. Not that they shouldn't. They should have the equal opportunity and that kind of stuff too. But it's also a natural thing that a lot of these industries just don't have as many women, and that might be part of the problem too. Is they're not as welcoming to women as well. There was definitely that. There was a lot of this girl got hit on by nearly everybody. Uh, it was daunting for her, I bet.
Well, I think that that's part of what contributes to this like frat boy culture of the technical support team of Blizzard is that you're right. Like the number of women that are getting into STEM and getting into like programming and things, the ratio is just off. There are more men doing that right now. I think in the next 10 to 15 years we're going to see a renaissance in that because there's all these programs right now for getting young girls into these types of things. So I think we're going to see that change, just not. But what's the incentive for women to get into this type of field, knowing that they're going to be subjected to pervasive sexual harassment because the ratio is off, no matter which company they go to work
for. Right. Even if the ratio is off, it shouldn't be that way at all. And yeah, it is because people suck. People suck.
That they do.
Oh boy. This is like, I don't know. This is probably one of the heavier things we've tackled in a long time. So
Since this land is my land.
yeah, that was a racial.
That was a heavy night.
Yeah.
Your thing about ratios reminded me of this shirt. I hadn't thought about this in years. In undergrad, there was this girl in our social circle. She was a very classically pretty girl who was an engineering student.
Mm-hmm.
And she actually did. She was a pretty good engineer. I think she ended up getting like an amazing job right out of college. But she had this shirt, and I'll never forget it. It said, "Women in engineering. The odds are good, but the goods are odd." speaking about like her classmates and men hitting on her. Like the odds are good of her finding a boyfriend, but the goods.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I'll never forget that because like yeah, she mentioned how like it was just kind of nonstop for her.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I remember. So when I went to DeVry, and we had an on campus where I went. I didn't do like DeVry online, which is more common these days. And they merged with the Keller Nursing while we were there. So suddenly went from like one girl to like half girls. And it was a bunch of nursing students, which is primarily female. So we had the opposite sort of like mushed together. Now, granted, our programming classes was still mostly just the guys and the one girl. Um, but then we had these like I had a speech class I think where we had like six girls come into the class and we were like a 12-person class already. So like so it wasn't half, but it was a lot more girls. And the guys are immediately like, "Ooh, you know, like, ooh, I'm gonna go talk to these people." Like immediately, like the like freaking wolves drooling, and I was like, now at the time I might have considered it because I was in college, but I was also with my ex-wife at the time. I was with her the whole time I was through college, so I wasn't like I was already taken, so I didn't really, didn't really do that.
they have no power here.
Yes. Yes, I did get. We did. That was a actually. What was it? There was like that was a weird class. I think it was a speech class, but we got into like a lot of moral debates and stuff. And that was the one where one of the nursing students kind of accused me of being like one of those guys that were kind of like drooling over during a debate, an open class debate. And I was like, no, I'm not doing because it was some weird moral thing about some pirate. Like you could never get across this river and your fiance could only get across by sleeping with this pirate, some weird moral thing. And I was just like, yeah, I hate this. I hate everything about this because I was
This
currently
isn't real. This isn't real. This is bullshit.
right. And I was like, I was like, it was so weird. She's like, oh, you don't care what the girl thinks or whatever. Because like I was saying that like, no, she shouldn't sleep with that pirate. Like we're going to find a different way to get across the river. There's always another way. But the scenario was there wasn't, and I was like, "This is bullshit. I'm out." But it was a crazy debate. They got a couple people really heated at me because I was refusing to listen to them. Anyways, so I don't know. Like I don't have a lot else to say about the Activision Blizzard stuff. There's a lot of information that came out, but like afterwards, yeah, I don't see a lot of heavy impact to the games at all, other than maybe WoW. Right now, a lot of people are quote unquote abandoning WoW, but like most of the people that are doing that have already not been playing WoW. Like that's another thing. It's like, hey, well, I'm just saying, like, there's these YouTubers that are like, "Hey, I'm officially no longer going to play WoW on my channel and stuff," and it's like, yeah, but you haven't been playing WoW in the past like 4 months, dude. Like, what are you...
I feel like they're gonna feel some of the impact with their esports. So even though this seems to be related more to World of Warcraft, I think Overwatch is about to feel this with they
Oh
got
yeah,
sponsorships pulled.
that's
Currently,
true.
like people who are playing their competitive games have like duct tape for their shirts covering up the recently canceled sponsors. So I think there is going to be some kind of repercussion. I don't think it's going to be long-term repercussions. Like
Hmm.
with the juggernaut that is World of Warcraft, they're like it's like they just print money.
Hmm.
So State Farm can pull their sponsorship, but that's just I feel like it's more a message being sent rather than a true repercussion.
True. Yeah, I did forget about the sponsorship stuff. I actually had that written down. Yeah, because we were talking about it before the show. Jalen Brack is actually on the Coca-Cola board of directors, and Coca-Cola pulled their sponsorship.
Ouch.
J. Allen Brack was one of the executives that dated down and found his wife and married her at Blizzard.
A part of me just wants to say, I hope they're just a happy couple, and that there's nothing bad about that. But the whole situation is just kind of weird.
So I'm not sure. I don't know which of the three, because I don't recognize like any of their names off like first read, but three top level executives married like after dating a bunch of lower level employees, married their wives there, and one of the three had been cheating on his wife, divorced her, and married one of the employees there. But I don't think it was Brack.
Still bad. Still bad.
Yeah. I mean, like essentially,
Ooh.
we anyone who's worked in at least like the service industry knows you don't shit where you eat. So this definitely should have been a thing at a professional level.
You don't have push to talk on, Pan.
I'm talking to Steve.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking to us. All right. Well, I don't know.
Someone, I'll grab it.
I personally
So-
go ahead, Bam. Sorry.
Oh, finish your thought. Steve is grabbing me a prop that I need for this. Continue.
So, personally, in my company right now, because it consists of me, my brother, and my dad, I hope there's no dating going on. I'm pretty sure that's not going on. But so I don't have a lot to stand on in this conversation because I've not worked in a big company in a long time. Gosh, it's going on. Last one I worked at was Honda, and I think they had no dating policies as far as like superiors or management and that kind of stuff. Pretty sure. But then again, I was also still married at that time too, so like it wasn't like I was looking around or noticing people. So
But you're not shopping for a unicorn at the Honda shop?
no, that place was weird. I'll tell you what. And I'm not talking about like the people, but like it would be kind of, it's like, I don't know. Everyone just felt like grungy and unattractive there because everyone had to wear the same white jumpsuits and everyone had to wear like the same work boots. So like everyone looked the same, and it's like, yeah, I can't tell other than their face. So there wasn't like a lot of, you wouldn't see like what Sasha was talking about, like women competing for a guy or anything because they all had to wear the same thing. So like there wasn't like a lot of social contract in that aspect of like dating, sort of like, ooh, I like this guy, I'll talk to him. It was sort of just like, hey, this sucks, and we're gonna sit here on break and just talk about like not being here, and then we're gonna go back to work. That was Honda. I hated Honda. They hated me too because they fired me. So there we go. So what were you gonna say, Pan?
So, as I've mentioned a few times, this summer my husband has really gotten into comic books.
Mm-hmm.
And there is this comic book which, when we first heard about it, we were like, oh, bless that comic book's heart. They clearly attached a celebrity to it and had some writer do it and had some artist do it. And they just attached that celebrity's name to sell comics.
Yeah.
So, but he bought it because we were vaguely interested, and the art was interesting, and the premise, as we were led to initially told about it, was interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about it's titled Mom, or Mother of Madness, by Emilia Clarke of Game of Thrones. Daenerys.
Okay. Yes, Mother Madness makes sense. Yes.
Well, okay, it's complicated to explain her superpowers, but basically she took a bunch of drugs and now she has superpowers based on societal expectations of women.
What? Oh,
Published this.
Image Comics.
I was thinking that. Image written all over it.
Okay, good. I'm glad. Okay, so for Tuan, for explanation one, Image Comics will publish any bullshit.
sure.
For a limited run, but if it sells well, they'll keep that bullshit going.
Yes.
A la Sex Criminals, if you've read that.
Yes, Image Comics will publish anything and as a limited series, and then if it sells, they'll turn it into a real series. For two, if you imagine all the all the stupid, like super jacked men of the '90s comics and women in teeny ass bikinis comics of the '90s, yeah, Image kind of started that bullshit, and that's when they helped it take off.
Oh, okay.
So of course Image Comics is publishing this. I'm glad you get that. Anyways,
Yeah,
so
not a comic guy. Yeah.
this comic, I have it here. It is so bad. By the way, I do appreciate the art.
Mm-hmm. It looks neat.
Looks like Fiona Staples coloring. Who's the art?
I don't know because this is a variant cover and it doesn't list. It's hard to figure out who did each variant cover. But I do appreciate the detail of like her boobs are not perfect shaped in that bra.
Okay.
And that is the only thing I appreciate about this comic. Okay, so that's a lot. That's a long-winded explanation to come about to this scene in the comic. By the way, the main character looks like Emilia Clarke.
Okay.
He does. I'm looking at this right now.
Yeah, so that's a long-winded explanation to come around to the main character. Her day job is she is some sort of businesswoman of some kind.
Mm-hmm.
And she gets called into her boss's office, and he rips into her because her skirt is too long for the women's company dress code, and she hasn't done her makeup as well as she did last week. And for these repercussions, she basically owes him a blowjob.
Holy. What?
And So my husband and I he read this and he said, Chelsea, this is so bad you have to read it, and I can't tell you why. So I read it, and
No, I didn't give you any expectations. I wanted you to form your own opinion.
okay, you're right. He said, this comic, it's an experience and you have to read it.
Mm-hmm.
So I read it, and we both walked away from this comic saying, what company in absolute hell in the modern era actually acts like that? And the answer is Activision Blizzard.
Wow.
That was such a perfect tee up.
Well, okay. That was way to bring it back.
Yeah, that was a long story to say that.
I
Sorry, I had one other thing. Oh yeah,
Sure.
and also at the end there is this like thing that Emilia Clarke wrote, that's like to the reader, and we read it and we're like, holy shit, this is not something where they just attached a celebrity's name to it and then did it to sell the comics. No, this is Emilia Clarke's passionate perception of the world. And then we started thinking about that in on ourselves because like she is like obviously a very traditionally beautiful model in an industry where her basically job performance is rated on her looks and all that other stuff. So this may actually be her perception of the world.
I don't know how much you guys know about the behind the scenes with Game of Thrones, but
we talked about that.
Like big time went to bat for ending a lot of the nudity and exploitation.
Yeah.
No, and that's something he and I talked about after we both read this.
She stopped doing her own nude stuff, right? And then she ended up going back and doing it later again, is what I heard, or no? I don't know. I'm not as versed in Game of Thrones as everyone else because I actually liked season 8, but whatever.
I think that I read this a while ago, so I'm probably butchering it, but that she had just agreed to do the nudity because, this is like your big break. and it was this expectation.
It's
and
yeah.
then once it really like blew up and took off, she became this household name. She realized that she had the power to be like, absolutely not doing this anymore. So I think she had a body double for like, I think from season 3 on.
Yep. Yeah. She pretty famously like started refusing to do nude scenes, and they're like, "Well, shit, we can't exactly fire her."
Right.
Oh yeah. So one other thing I appreciate about this comic and nothing else is her superhero suit.
Oh wow, it's very neutral.
Yeah, that's her superhero suit.
I like it.
Yeah,
like a
but
less sexy Beatrix.
yeah, but this comic is not good. I can't endorse it, but it is a fascinating look into Amelia Clark herself.
So
I feel like I'm gonna have to read it. I've read a lot of really trashy Image comics, but sometimes I really love it. I don't know.
Well, then maybe you would like this.
I might. Have you read Sex Criminals?
I limit my husband. Okay, I limit my, or not. I don't limit, but well, my husband has a set budget of comics per week. It's really easy to buy $50 worth of comics a week, and he doesn't have room for trashy comics.
It's an older line. I think it probably stopped running a couple years ago, but the general gist of it is that these two people figure out that they can stop sex, and so
you cut out super hard. These two people figure out what?
They figure out that they can stop time when they have sex, so they start robbing banks. They go into like broom closets and start having sex, and then they rob the bank.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
Wow.
That's so dumb.
Wow.
Yeah, Image Comics, like I said, 421, Image Comics will publish anything. And they do have some good stuff.
Saga is amazing.
I want to say, Murder Falcon is an Image comic. I still have it on my desk from last week.
Yes.
Yeah, it is. There's the eye. Yeah, Murder Falcon is an Image comic, and Murder Falcon is fucking amazing.
This is the Guitar Hero guy?
Yes, this is the comic where I wasn't ready to go on an emotional journey and start ugly crying on the couch.
Yep. The only comics that I have read is I've read some Turok comics that I found in the world's largest comic book store. I used to live next to it, or near it. I was like, how do I not live near this place and not go there? So I went there. I picked up a few Turok comics because I love Turok. And it started out as a comic, and that's when I learned that. And then I read Scooby-Doo Apocalypse. And then I didn't even get to read all of it. But Scooby-Doo Apocalypse was insane, and I loved it. Scooby-Doo, but it's in the future with a pseudo-zombie mutant apocalypse where Scooby was part of a genetic dog breeding experiment to create intelligent dogs, and Shaggy was his handler. Velma started the apocalypse being part of a super brain trust group corporation, and Daphne is an investigative reporter, with Freddy being her cameraman who's hopelessly in love with her and proposes to her every issue. And there we go. That is the gist of Scooby-Doo Apocalypse.
Well, if you enjoyed Scooby-Doo Apocalypse, I would recommend to you Archie Afterlife, which is a dark reimagining of the Archie comics with zombies and gore and trashy, and I loved it.
Yeah, they did a lot of apparently there was a run. I think this was I'm not sure. I think this was DC, but DC had a lot of Hanna-Barbera like weird remakes, and Scooby-Doo Apocalypse was the Scooby-Doo Hanna-Barbera remake. I think they had a Flintstones one. I think they had gosh, the I'm trying to think of it. It had a shark. Is it Jabberjaw? Is it Jabberjaw?
That makes sense. Jabberjaw is yes.
Yeah, I think they made like a Jabberjaw one. I don't know what the Jabberjaw one was, but it was weird because we live near a place where we drive past a place on the way to one of our job sites called Coolville. Not Coolsville, but Coolville. And they do have the mystery machine. Like someone made their own mystery machine and drives around town. So I was like, oh, I'm gonna look this up. Is the comic actually based off, or Scooby Doo actually based off of Coolville, Ohio? And it's not. No. But I was looking it up, and then while looking it up, I found Scooby Doo Apocalypse. Is like, I have to have this now. This looks insane. I was gonna say, I mentioned this a little bit like on Twitter and a little bit on the Discord. I actually finished a game I'm working on for 2 years, off and on, and it kind of fits on the women empowerment thing. It's like Duke Nukem, except Duke Nukem's a girl, and it's called Ion Flux. She's Did you see this in the Discord, Pan? Is that what you were gonna say?
No, but I remember the shitty anime.
That's nope, it's not that. I might have missaid what that was. Let me go. Ion Fury. There you go, not Flux. You're right. That's
okay. Okay. Never mind then. These have nothing to do with each other.
No, they do not. So she is a cop in the future, and there's an evil dick scientist who is genetically mutating people to use them as an army, and she is just some I don't know. I think she's like a beat cop, and she's like, I've had enough of his shit, and she's going to go and murder this scientist. It took me 2 years to finish this game because I kept getting distracted. But it's literally Duke Nukem with the one-liners and everything, except she's a really funny cop. Like, she's really funny. She makes a lot of small penis jokes, too, at the guy. And it's really funny. Like, it's just juvenile humor for me. Like
I was gonna say, I'm pretty sure Duke Nukem makes enough big dick jokes that it balances.
Yes, probably. I do like Duke Nukem as well. I mean, the Duke Nukem mod for Bulletstorm, that was amazing. Were you here when I talked about that, Pan? So Bulletstorm is this FPS game that like you get like bonus points or like special kills, like kicking people into cactuses and like lassoing people and that kind of stuff. And they did a mod. It's like the Duke Nukem edition. It's not a mod. It's like an actual, like, I bought this on the Switch. You play as Duke Nukem, and he has a fully voiced by John St. John, who is Duke Nukem's voice. Duke Nukem playing as this guy, but they don't change what anyone says to this guy in the story. And it's a voiced, like, cutscenes and everything. And they're like, hey, I think his name's Gray or something. Like, hey, Gray, get over there. He's like, my name's fucking Duke. Like all the stuff where he's like arguing. He's like, why do you keep calling me this? Look, I'm not this Gray guy. Like, there's all this explaining how he's not this guy and the cutscenes and stuff. And it's really funny. It's like really funny of like, just like, putting Duke Nukem in a situation that he is not the main character, but he is, and he's like really frustrated by it because he's supposed to be this like superstar, and no one knows him, and he's like, but everyone knows me. Oh, anyways, but yeah, Ion Fury was a cool game, but it was actually it was a nice like juxtaposition to have like sort of like a strong female character in the Duke Nukem role versus Duke Nukem, who is obviously very sexist.
That thing you said reminded me. Have either of you watched the Netflix Castlevania?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Have you seen the newest season?
Yet I've been very busy with work.
I believe so. Is this the one where they? I don't want to spoil things.
You can mention anything in it without spoiling it. The season came out like a month ago.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I watched it. One of the times Chance was back. I'm trying to think of how to are they no, I don't know. I there's a lot of things coming up and I'm like, that all feels like spoilers.
Facebook message me or DM me. Anyways, they do a wonderful bit with this vampire, this like 2-bit bitch of a vampire, who's like, "I'm the Terror of London." What I am?
Yes, I've
And
seen
nobody,
this. Okay, there you go.
nobody has fucking heard of this guy, and it's
Yes.
wonderful.
Yes.
I fucking love it. And the whole time I'm watching, I'm like, who the fuck is this guy? He sounds like some asshole trying to do a British Mark Hamill impression. And then I look him up, and it's Malcolm McDowell.
You'll have to explain that one for me.
Clockwork Orange. He's a pretty famous actor.
Never saw Clockwork Orange.
Oh my god. Okay. What other things has Malcolm McDowell been in? Because usually I say Clockwork Orange.
He's Dr. Loomis in the Halloween reboot.
I'm gonna. All right, Malcolm McDowell, actor. All right. Oh yes, I know him.
Oh, thank God.
I know him from. Not that. I know him since he's been older.
Yeah.
Gosh, what was he in? All right, I'm gonna go down this rabbit hole because I recognize I recognize him from something.
He was in a very famous movie called A Clockwork Orange. I think that's the thing he's most famously known.
Yeah.
He's in Morrowind. He voices a character in Morrowind, apparently.
Yeah, he's like old British guy in most things lately.
Star Wars.
He's in he's in most episodes of Metalocalypse.
Wait.
I missed that show.
Is he the bad guy in Tank Girl? That might be where I know him from. Oh God, his thing is so long. His like filmography.
He's the voice of Molag Bal.
Okay, gotta go early 90s.
Okay, well, anyways, I'm just like, who is this asshole who's trying to sound like British Mark Hamill? Because that's what the voice sounds like to me. And I'm just like, as I do whenever I'm watching something animated, I have to know who the voice actors are.
Yes, he's the bad guy in Tank Girl. That's where I know him from.
Okay. I looked him up and I'm like, oh shit, that's Malcolm McDowell. I'll stop talking shit about his performance, I guess.
I guess, yeah. I like that. Huh. It's very weird. There's a lot of him and a lot of things that I have not seen.
Yeah, he's British. He's generic British guy. A lot of times. A lot of times. So, anyways, but there's this vampire. There's this vampire in the latest season. His name is Varney. He's like, "What you mean? I'm Varney. I'm the Terror of London. I am. How have you not heard of me?"
Yeah.
And this Russian vampire is like, "Yeah, you're a bitch. Nobody's heard of you. Quit acting like people have heard of you."
Yeah, the Russian thug vampire. Yeah. Yeah, I remember this. Okay.
It's wonderful. It's a wonderful bit they do with him.
Hey, Steve's making fun of me for not knowing Clockwork Orange, but instead knew Tank Girl. Yes, I understand. Tank Girl is a very obscure 90s movie versus Clockwork Orange.
No, Tank Girl was a comic, right?
I did know that because it was based on a comic, and even in the movie it had the comic panels and stuff come through. Yeah. Yes.
I'm laughing so hard I'm slapping my knee.
Okay. To be fair, I know what Clockwork Orange is. I have never watched it. I don't think that makes it any better, but I am aware that it is a movie that people like. It's what was the one? Because a lot of people who liked Clockwork Orange have also suggested Donnie Darko to me, and I did not like Donnie Darko. So I was like,
that's because
Go ahead.
Two people have seen both those. Two sorts of people have seen both those movies and like them a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Incels.
I was gonna say edgy people and filmography people.
Yes.
I'm gonna go with they were edgy because they also were really into Edward Scissorhands.
That's another one that fits into both of those.
Yep. And I was like, I'm good. I don't need to see this. So,
I guess back at the plot, do we have anything else to talk about Activision Blizzard, or what else do we got to talk about tonight?
that was it. Honestly, that's all. That's all I had. I thought that was going to take longer, honestly. But then again, it was mostly just we all agree this sucks. There was a lot that happened, but I think the repercussions in the long term, like Sasha said, are probably not going to be much unless. But at least they're making some changes, I think, and it's good to know that it's not everybody. The walkout that happened, I would like to mention. One of my notes had I forgot his name. Mike Yabert was part of that walkout. So the new co-leader.
Interesting.
So obviously he's well aware of what's going on and involved and such. So it's not and I didn't hear anything about Jen O'Neill being involved. But obviously there are people who are aware of what's going on in the company and they weren't just shoved into there. One of the other things is a lot of people talk about Activision sort of taking over Blizzard little by little. Go ahead.
Isn't that their absolute right and duty as a company that acquired another company? And also they acquired that company 20 years ago?
It was a merger?
Okay, never mind. Okay.
I think. I'm not 100% on that.
Okay, but continue.
Or it was a hostile takeover, maybe, because they bought. They used to be owned by Vivendi, and I think Activision bought Vivendi over time. I think is what actually happened. But they wanted to keep Blizzard autonomous, and more that's becoming less the case, as Blizzard being less autonomous.
Okay, so what I am reading is that Activision Blizzard is a division of Activision.
Yes. So they're not. Yeah, so it is a owned company. That is the correct term. So that is their right, but the thing is, people were worried about because Blizzard has been like a critical darling for how long, right? Obviously, not a good thing right now, but as far as the games go, right? You know, Warcraft, Starcraft, you know, Diablo, even Overwatch became a darling when it came out, even though it's 2016. It's a fairly recent series. But it was their, gosh, since I think, Diablo was their latest series since Overwatch? I think. Like, it was pretty late. I would say that probably it's either StarCraft or Diablo. Like, and we're talking late 90s until 2016. So we're, 20 years of nothing new as far as like IP. So there's a lot of talk about how these people are all not like we talked about old guard of Blizzard, and again, as far as the harassment standpoint, not really, probably a good thing. It's not the old guard of Blizzard, but there's a lot of worry that Activision is now no longer allowing Blizzard to be autonomous, and that is cited as the reason why the previous president before Jalen Brack stepped away because he was frustrated with Activision's involvement.
I mean, so to me, this seems like Blizzard doesn't get to have nice things anymore.
But they made nice things.
No. I mean, like, you done fucked up and now Dad's coming in and grounding your ass.
Right, but Activision isn't blameless in this, too.
Oh, no, absolutely not. But if Blizzard was relatively autonomous and this is the bullshit they got up to, I can totally understand why the heavy hand of God is coming in from Activision and being like, okay, guys, you don't get to have nice things anymore. Nice things like corporate autonomy.
Well, it's been a concern in let's say Diablo's case, right? Because the Diablo 3 auction house, that disaster, I don't know. Were you involved? How did you play Diablo 3, Sasha? You played it on Xbox, right?
Yeah, I played Xbox.
So they had already got rid of the real money auction house by that point. By the time it came to consoles, so apparently that was an Activision decision and a push by Activision, and the Diablo team was like, "No, we don't want microtransactions." And then there's some concerns on that front, but um, I think the larger concerns are kind of now the social concerns. So I think I'm not against these people who aren't Blizzard people coming in. I think they're going to do good, and they seem to be liked by the Blizzard employees even. So I think that these two people coming in, both Jen and, gosh, I keep forgetting his name.
Mike.
Mike. Yes, Mike Ybarra. You think I'd remember Ybarra because it's like Yberra. It's
Yogi Bear.
Mike Ybarra. He's your bear. So I'm not against them coming in. It's an interesting thing because it's another step towards Activision controlling Blizzard entirely. The autonomy is essentially gone now. It looks like. So, I guess that's my final note, which I don't know if that's a good or bad thing. We don't know how that's going to work out because apparently a lot of the frustrations within Blizzard has been the Activision putting their fingers into things because Activision is part of the whole loot bot controversy and stuff. So,
I had read that was some of the frustrations with the development of like the Forest received Warcraft games, like Warcraft 3, that it had to do with Activision meddling with Blizzard's decisions.
Yeah. Yep. So there is that concern, but again, I think that's a smaller concern at the moment. Unfortunately, because it's a smaller concern, that might have some ground to cause problems later for the games themselves. But we'll see. We don't know until those games come out. Which, aside from
And I think
Immortal is next year, right?
Well, and I think that it would be several years before we get a wholly post this controversy game.
Yeah. It developed entirely outside of this culture. Yes.
Yeah. So it'll be a while before we see what all this, basically the full repercussions of this on the company are.
It's true. I think the earliest we're going to see this though is Diablo 4 because Diablo 4 still is in quite active development. Overwatch 2, I don't think so. Overwatch 2 is sounding more like done. I don't know. Hey, we might actually get another StarCraft, though. That might be a cool thing, right? For people. I don't know.
Not my jam, so
So not my jam. I've never played it.
You'd think it would be my jam, and so would my husband. Because, goddamn, our RTSs are my jam.
Mm-hmm.
But I tried. I tried to get into StarCraft. And you'd think StarCraft would be my jam, but it's not.
As much as I like the Zerg a lot, but I don't like the Zerg strategy, which is Rushdown. I'm not, in an RTS, I'm much more like the Turtle. Now, Magic the Gathering, I'm a Rushdown. I like doing that, but it doesn't translate well to a video game for me. I want a Turtle, and Zerg are not turtles.
Oh, just inexplicably like with you, where space RPGs don't do it for you. Space RTS doesn't do it for me.
I think my thing is just space in general is a genre that I don't enjoy. And I get some people being like, but what about Doom? Doom's a space marine. I'm like, yeah, but all of Doom happens in hell and bases and that kind of stuff. We're not exploring space. We're slaying the demons. So I don't know. Space is not a setting that I usually enjoy. Although one of my favorite book series is set in space. Hard Luck Hank. That's a fun series. It's about space mercenary who is a mutant. I think I've talked about this once before with you, Pan. He's like it's like Wolverine, except instead of when he heals, he just adds on scar tissue and becomes uglier and fatter all the time, and it's hilarious. It's a comedy thing, but like, um, yeah, at the beginning of like the first book, he's like 6,000 pounds or something like that, and he can barely walk. And but he's so scarred, and he has so much regenerative abilities that like he's basically immune to bullets. And it's really funny because bullets still hurt him, but they can't kill him. So like people are like, "Well, you can take a bullet, no problem." So they'll shoot him just for fun, and
And
he's like, "Ah, damn it, it still hurts." Oh man, it's just I don't know. It's a funny series.
it's like Tony Shalhoub's alien character in Men in Black.
Yes. Wow, that's a. Don't you know how much that stings?
You insensitive prick! You have any idea how much that stings?
Yeah. Okay. So I don't have a lot more to say. It doesn't look like you guys do either. So I guess we can wrap it up for tonight. Just a cool
That's a
hour and a
record.
half. Cool hour and a half. That's a good one. But yeah, we are tackling a more sensitive issue, I guess. And I don't really feel like challenging a lot of things. I mean, I am the one guy and the two girls here. Like, I don't feel like I have a lot of say of what's going on, or but I certainly don't disagree with you two either. It's not like I'm going to be like, no, they should be able to do whatever they want. Like, that's just stupid. But
So glad you don't have any hot takes on that.
no. My only hot take I said today was I like Game of Thrones season 8, but that's it.
That's a pretty
Yeah,
spicy one.
Ended like you didn't say it. I didn't hear it.
All right. I will explain this only because it's the only time I could predict anything in that show. And they killed that last dragon, the second dragon, and I was like, she's going to kill everybody. It is decided. You killed her baby. She kills everyone. That's what happens. So that's it. That's why I enjoyed it, because I finally predicted something. I do not like Game of Thrones. I've seen them all. I do not like it. Yes, it was a terrible season objectively.
Sasha, just before we go, I do have to tell you this this sort of interesting perspective that my mother-in-law had on Game of Thrones season 2.
Oh,
I don't think she ever finished Game of Thrones season 2. And this was also several years ago.
Mm-hmm.
She's a very well-read woman. She managed a library for about 20 years. So that gives you a little bit of her perspective. But she said that so I know this series is based on books, and I'll probably get around to reading those books someday. But anyways, I really like how they're setting up Rob to be this sort of avenging protagonist who will march south with his army and set everything right and avenge his father and teach the throne like the ways of honor. And I just had to be like, during that conversation.
oh.
But yeah, she really liked the story they were setting up for Robb Stark to like go in and avenge his father.
Yeah, I liked it too until the Red Wedding.
Yeah.
We all did.
I actually know that one. I actually know what you're talking about with that one. It was pretty rough. Actually, the first episode I ever saw was the Red Wedding. My ex was watching it, and I was like, this looks bad. I'm not going to watch it. So I went off and did other things. But I did sit down and watch the Red Wedding. Not because I wanted. She's like, just sit down and watch this with me. I think it's really cool. And then that episode turns on, and I was like, this is cool to you? This is insane. But then I ended up watching it with my family later on. So
I was prepared for that episode because I had read the books, but when I read the book, it was like my husband was working late and I was home alone reading it, and I was so devastated. I was sobbing, and I went to bed, and he came home. He had like closed the bar, come home, and he's like, "Hey, how are you?" And I just wake up from a dead sleep, totally sobbing again, like, "Oh, Rob Stark, oh my God," and then and Greywind, and he's like, "I don't know who any of these people are. You're gonna have to slow down."
Yeah. Oh boy.
Yeah. I mean, the very second they put Greywind outside, I'm like, oh fuck, they're all dead. Like the moment they do that several minutes before shit goes down in the show. And I'm like, they put him outside, and I'm like, oh god, he put the dog outside. They're all gonna die.
Yeah, I remember seeing that when I was actually the second time I saw it when I watched through with my parents. I do remember them being like the dogs can't come in or whatever, and I'm like, yeah, don't do that. No, those things save your life every time. Please
Yep,
keep
every
them
time.
with you.
Every time someone says no, your faithful animal companion cannot join you. Don't trust that person. Oh shit. Steve, plug your ears. Plug your ears, because I just got ideas for D&D.
It's so dark in the books because you just like get all the little clues that they show you in the show when they're like the dog or the direwolf can't come in, and the lights are really low intentionally even though it's a celebration, and Lord Bolton's not drinking, and someone's wearing like chainmail armor underneath their dress clothes,
and they're playing this loud obnoxious music so nobody can coordinate.
yes,
and then suddenly
and then the Reigns of Castamere start playing, and everybody's like pretending like Lady Stark is crazy because she starts flipping out. Oh, it's bringing me back.
Wow.
It's a good scene in the book.
I will say that Skyward Sword made me cry a little bit today.
Go on.
I was waiting for a reaction more than like, oh. But okay, yes. There's you haven't finished Skyward Sword, right, Pan?
You can spoil it. It's okay. You can spoil it.
Okay.
It's an old game.
Just for setup.
I'll be right back.
And then Sasha dips out.
Yeah, no, it's fine. You know that it's the very first Zelda, right? They are not Link and Zelda yet. They are not the whatever dynasty that they always had. This is the first iteration of them.
They're not the hero and the princess.
But they are. They figure out they are. They figure out through whatever legend or whatever, right? And you can see this moment where she has to give herself up. So she has to basically time capsule herself. And she doesn't want to, but she has to in order to... Kind of like what she did in Ocarina of Time. Like where she... Ocarina of Time. In the second half where she puts herself in that stasis. Until you win. So, obviously Link and Zelda have feelings for each other, and it's very obvious in this one. And it's like, oh, okay, they're not being coy about this for once. They like each other, and she's like, all right, I really like you, but I have to go. Frozen forever, immediately, just like whoosh, and I was just like, this poor boy. Oh no.
That makes me think of something. That's cute. That motivates me to play Skyward Sword. As you may have noticed, though, I just bought Pokemon Snap today. But
I did not. I was purely in Skyward Sword all day. But
oh yeah, I thought it might have been popped up. Pan is now playing Pokemon Snap.
Yeah.
Okay, but anyways, what is with fish people being attracted to Link?
I don't know. I think it's not fish people specifically. I think everyone is attracted to Link. Because you do see that a lot. You'll see the fish people. Like, I think the only person in Ocarina of Time that wasn't outright like, hey, Link, come over here. I want you. Was like, Even the old lady at the lake even had lines where she was like, "Ooh, such a pretty young boy." um. What was her name? Marin in Lon Lon Ranch.
Oh, she was totally on. She totally wanted him.
Okay. Maybe I just didn't interpret that well as a 10-year-old.
Okay, but there's two different Zelda games now where a fish woman gets herself engaged to Link.
Well, you got Mifa, and then you got the what was her name?
Rudo,
Princess Rudo. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Fish just like Link.
Unless you're at the fishing hole.
Then they hate him. They really do. The fishing games in there are tough. Yeah.
I'm sorry, Sasha. I'm sorry.
They're so good. Go ahead. Live your best Link love.
On that subject though, Fortuan, we've been playing a lot of Hades lately.
Mm-hmm.
And we got that fishing rod, so you can get those fucking 9 million hellfish or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
And the very first time one of us got the fishing rod, we're like, all right, let's check out whatever fishing game mechanics are in this game. And it's just like, boop, boop, you got a fish.
Yeah.
And my husband said, you can tell this game was made by Western developers because no Japanese video game maker would have had a fishing game this simple.
Yeah. That's fair. Stardew Valley's the same way. Stardew Valley is a little
Stardew
different.
Valley is elegant. Stardew Valley is pretty elegant.
It's got mechanics.
Hades doesn't, though.
Actually, to be fair, Animal Crossing is Japanese, and it's pretty simple, right?
Yeah, but you still got to get the little shadow to like get over to your lure and go boop 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 boop.
Sure. Yes.
Like Hades, you just throw your fishing rod in, then you yank it back out.
I still sucked at that fishing game. I still missed quite a few fish.
If you don't have something nice to say, don't say anything at all.
Okay. Hey, I love fishing games. That if I were to ever play Stardew Valley again, I was talking to my brother today, and there's no way I'm ever playing Stardew Valley again. After Emery deleting my 300-hour save, I can't bring myself to do it. But I would totally just screw the farming. I would be a fisherman. I would make the river one, and I would just fish. That's where my money comes from.
There we go. There's a future topic. Our favorite fishing game mechanics.
Oh man, I did a lot of fishing in Warcraft.
Mm-hmm.
Have
I
you
definitely
seen
caught Old Iron Jaw.
Have you seen Wow Krendor's video about that?
No.
Wow Krendor, who he was associated with Total Biscuit tangentially.
Yeah, through Jesse Cox, yeah.
Yeah. But Wow Krendor has a top 10 fishing locations in World of Warcraft video.
That sounds fun.
It's actually possible I have seen it because I was really actively pursuing the salty title when I was playing.
Okay.
Yes.
Top 10 fishing mechanics. Wow. I can't think of...
No, we would not do a top 10. But we would do our favorite fishing mini games or what have you.
I'm not gonna lie, Stardew Valley would be on there. Stardew Valley is good.
Yeah.
As far as
Stardew Valley's got a solid fishing mechanic. I don't think we can make an entire episode out of that, but we could make an entire episode out of like favorite mini games in a game.
Or like ways that you've wasted your time in games.
Ooh.
That'd work really well for you being the achievement hunter. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I've got a lot of.
So that's a good one. That's a good one to cover. Favorite time wasters in video games.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, yeah. There's a lot of time wasters I did in Rise before I burned out on it, like the notes. Looking for all the notes and stuff.
Actually, Tangential to this, I thought of a topic we should do, especially for Sasha. Your personal top 10 video game achievements.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I'd have to
like
really think about that one.
I know.
I'd have to look through mine.
That's why it's so cool, because we'd have to.
Now,
I know you.
Official achievements or personal achievements?
Either or. It'd be your sort of personal top 10 top 10 achievements that you've done. It doesn't have to be an official achievement. I know my number one and number 2 achievements are not in actual achievements because they are from before Xbox came out, so they're before achievements.
Okay. And they were supposed to represent that, but they became more of a meta thing eventually.
Exactly.
That's a tough one. I can't.
Yeah,
I can't crown hunt Rise before we do that episode. Damn.
So there you go. There you go. That's our next topic, listeners. Our personal top 10 achievements in video gaming.
Oh boy, that'll be a big
Sasha's
one.
getting out a pen and paper.
I just, got some things on the top of my head I don't want to forget.
Oh boy. Yeah, I'm gonna have to. All right, yeah, I'm gonna have to look through my trophy list because
next week's gonna be a long one, folks.
Yeah,
You
instead
guys are
of
probably gonna hear about Mass Effect. I'm just preparing you for that.
That's fine. That's fine.
10 billion points to the Discord listeners who've been paying attention and who can name any of my top 10 ones.
I don't even know. I mean, I know a few. Okay. I know one of them.
You could guess it.
But what was that? What was the Story of Seasons, right? That one?
I never actually did that. I never followed through. I ran out of time.
You did?
I didn't do it. I ran out of time or not ran out of time. I got bored with the game and I never followed up on it.
That's okay. I was trying to date the redheaded girl and I gave up halfway through that, so I don't remember.
Okay. Well, there we go.
All right. So personal achievements / real meta achievement. Whatever.
Your top 10
That's still a
achievements.
personal achievement if you achieve one of the achievements. There you go.
Our top 10 achievements in video gaming.
So we're going to go long form on that. Okay. Well, I guess we'll wrap it up there. Thank you guys for listening to this rambling episode about Blizzard and sexism and then making that all weird by saying that. So, yeah. Moral of the story, treat people better, especially in the workplace. And
keep your hands to yourself.
And keep your hands to yourself and your mouth as well. With your words. There you go. Way to make it awkward again. So, thank you guys for listening. This is Fortuan. You can catch us at HunterTubPod on Twitter and Twitch. And be sure to join our Discord. Thank you for joining us, Pan, tonight. And
Hi. Yep, thanks for joining.
Sasha Kyo. Do you have any social stuff that you want to put out there, or just have people talk to you on the Discord? Because that's what Pan does.
Yeah, I think probably the Discord would be the best. I'm usually invisible when I'm playing Xbox because it's rare that I have the opportunity to play. But I'm Sasha Q on everything. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Well, thank you guys for listening, and prepare for personal achievements next time. It'll be a more fun one, I promise.
Oh yeah.
All right. Later.
Bye.